Season 54, War number 7, and we're up against PBT. This time my team will be Silk, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Shathra. I will be taking Path 8 in Section 1, Path 5 in Section 2, an Onslaught, Serpent, and Bullseye miniboss, as well as an Enchantress boss there using Silk. So I know, once again, very late on these videos, but it has been a very busy month for me with the Vancouver trip as well as all the holiday stuff. I actually wasn't home for Christmas, so I wasn't able to record the rest of these, but I'm gonna go ahead and get these out of the way before the next season starts. Starting off here, we have an American Chavez on the first node of Path 8. Honestly, nothing special going on here. She's a tactic defender, but that's fine. Silk completely shreds her, and it's only gonna take a single special too, and that's about it. Chavez, generally speaking, isn't too difficult for a defender, but with a tactic, she can be a bit troublesome if you don't have a counter, but Silk being Silk, she destroys most, if not all, of the tactic defenders. And a small correction there, didn't even need the special 2, a special 1 was enough. And then we got a Korg on the second node of Path 8, taking this fight with Negasonic. Not gonna be the fastest fight by any means, but Negasonic was basically built to counter every single one of the skill defenders with all of her passives, the stun passives, the incinerates, all of it, just to counter mainly Bullseye, as well as Atuma and Korg. Negasonic's attacks are all non-contact as well as energy-based, so Korg will not be able to deal any of his Rock Thorn's damage on any attack I throw, and he also has negative energy resistance, so the Incinerate debuffs as well as Negasonic's attacks will deal increased damage. Now my Negasonic is only a 6-star, I do have a 7-star that I could rank up, but the 6-star Ascended one has been doing well enough, so I haven't done the switch yet. It's been just about a minute, and Warmon Special 1 or waiting around with the Incinerates will finish the job. Slight bit of health lost there, but that is to be expected against 7-star defenders, especially if you're planning on parrying. Basically every single 7-star defender you fight in Alliance War or BGs will always have the block penetration stat focus, so taking some chip damage, you can't really avoid it. And then we have a Black Cat on the Event Flow Intercept and Sadist nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Negasonic. Now here, I can't exactly land Intercept safely, due to this Black Cat being awakened. If you try to hit her while she's dashing forward, you, or rather her, will have she will have a chance to auto-evade based on the amount of combo shield charges she has. So while she has any of them up, I'm not even gonna attempt to intercept, I'm just gonna play it safe. The chances of her evading are pretty low, and they get lower the less of those combo shields she has, but at the same time, why risk it? The damage is gonna be fine regardless, just gonna take slightly longer with the protection up, but even then, I would much rather do it the slow way than risk a stupid death to a Black Cat of all defenders. At this point, with the combo shields down, she can no longer evade at all, so now at this point I can do whatever I like, land an intercept if I wish, and yeah, the rest of this fairly simple to deal with. With the sabotage up currently, I didn't want to land any parries or risk landing the intercept just in case if I got hit, then due to her Negasonic's evade chance, the sabotage debuff would have dealt damage to me every single time it failed, and knowing Black Cat, the damage can be pretty high. So to avoid any risk of that happening, I waited to land the intercept until after the sabotage fell off. Then we have a Kindred on the Event Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Silk. This one is simple enough. Essentially it's just a Kindred, it's a tactic fight, but Silk completely shuts him down, or them down, with or without the tactic. Now with the Mighty Charge node, this is slightly more annoying, because every time when Kindred dashes forward, you will lose all the debuffs on them, and without any debuffs, you will no longer be able to shut down the degeneration damage, so to avoid that, I'm just gonna try to keep them in the corner, so they won't be able to dash around. Other than that, I'm not really paying too close too close of a mind on the degenerations or infestation charges, because there's really no need. If they trigger and do nothing, so long as you don't let Kindred dash around. Fight goes down, barely any health loss there, so all is well, and we are on to the first mini-boss of the war. An Onslaught on the event flow, knockdown and right back at it mini-boss node, and I will be taking this fight with Silk. Silk works great for Onslaught, a lot of champions do, but the main issue I'd say with this matchup is the high crit rate and hit count that Silk has, which causes a lot of neuroshock triggers from simply landing hits, so taking chip damage in this fight is unavoidable. It is what it is gonna cost you a potion, most likely, but overall, the fight itself is not bad at all. Now, one thing to note here is that there was a bug at the time with the right back added node. As you saw there, I knocked him down, but he did not go debuff immune. So seeing this, you know I'm gonna take full advantage of it. I'm going for the knockdowns as much as I can to get the protection down, get more damage in, so I don't have to sit in this fight any longer than I need to. The knockdowns are great to remove the event for protection, and then the right back added node will not be eating any of Silk's damage by removing the physical vulnerabilities and whatever else. Now right there, the right back added node did trigger a knockdown, and that right there helped me figure out how exactly the bug works. Essentially, if you have a slow effect on the defender when you knock them down, it wasn't counting it as a knockdown. So there, when I did the heavy attack, the right back added node came back exactly before my second heavy hit landed. That means that he purified the slow debuff active on him. He was without a slow as the second heavy hit landed, landing the knockdown and then triggering the debuff immunity. I believe this has been fixed already, so you can't take advantage of that anymore, but it was neat and certainly welcome there, otherwise the fight would have taken longer than necessary. Not that it would have really made a difference, these wars are not decided on fight time. Then we have the Serpent here on the Mega Stand, and when I open mini-boss node, and I will be taking the fight with Shathra. This is the only fight I brought her in for, and well, sure we could use the other options like Symbiote Supreme, but Shathra works great, I like using her, and I had a slot in my team, so might as well. Plan here is the same as usual. First a single special one to get the atrophy on the opponent, and then try to line up those big special 2s. The atrophy is needed to deal with the death immunity buff at the end of the fight. Well, it's not really needed, so to speak, but it does make it a whole lot easier and safer. So I'm gonna do my absolute best to keep the atrophy up until we hit the death immunity. Went for another special one there to ramp up a second special 2 here. You kinda need to have as many of the eggs on the opponent as possible to make sure your special 2s actually hit hard, as you saw there. The first special 2 was pretty weak in comparison, but with having the max of 500 wasps on the defender when throwing special 2, the damage is definitely there. It is very noticeable, and yeah, she hits very hard. She's not really good for any long-form content like the Karina's Necropolis challenges for the Dimensional Beings, but she works for Alliance War and BG style content very, very well. Serpent goes down, no issues there, just the usual chip damage that is essentially unavoidable against him due to his undexable special attacks, but overall not too bad. Then a quick boost switch, since we have the good old Bullseye of the Conflictor and Computational Prowess miniboss node that I will be taking with Negasonic. Now, you don't really need the mutant boosts for this one, since most of your damage is gonna come from basic attacks as well as the incinerates, so having the increased special damage or the power back boosts, it doesn't do much, but I mean it is there, so might as well put them on. Generally speaking though, it is a waste of loyalty for this matchup. Now the game plan is the same as usual, only bait Bullseye special 2s here, since, well, it's a lot easier to fully dex than the special 1. If You leave Bullseye with the special one. I would suggest blocking it here, but even then, due to the prowess as well as the impact charges from the node, blocking it will hurt a lot. So just pushing him to special 2 solves basically everything that the nodes give him here. The Conflictor node is completely shut down by Negasonic's abilities, and then all there is really left is just managing the power bar, and that's it. I did a horrible job at it. He had a chance to use that special one, I think a couple times in the fight, which if he did I would have taken a ton of block damage, but I don't think I would have died unless I accidentally tried dexing it out of reflex, which has happened before. So overall though, fight's not too bad as long as you don't play dumb like I did there. Then we have the final fight of the war, an Enchantress boss that I will be taking with Silk, and this time I don't have the Shocker synergy, so this one's gonna take a little bit longer than normal, but overall it's just an Enchantress. Just gotta do the good old plan of eating special 3s for breakfast with the invulnerability boost, and that's about it. I will have to deal with the spells whenever she decides to throw those special ones, if she decides to throw them. And then the spells at the start of the fight, they are easy enough to get off of her, especially since she did not trigger the untouchable one. That is basically the biggest threat in her kit, I would say. Now, as you can see, the damage is not great, but it could be worse. Having a Silk here at max sig is definitely helping by being able to reverse that willpower healing. The damage numbers, they are very noticeable and they do stack up. And here I did manage to actually get 2 special 2s off before baiting a single special from her. She's down to 30% now without consuming a single hit on the invulnerability boost. And I almost got another striker here to continue the combo, but it was about time she got something done in the fight herself. Special 3 of course will not do any damage, but it will steal my power, getting her to a bar of power and making sure I don't get to my own special 2 quickly enough, and here, finishing my combo, allowed her to then throw her own special 1, which was unfortunate, definitely a mistake on my part, but overall still not an issue. I go for a combo, striker heavy into a special 2 to get the passive fury as well, use the special 2 for the knockdown to remove the final spell. I could have removed it beforehand to increase my damage output, but as you can see it wasn't needed. Was able to finish out the fight with one more special 1 in less than 2 minutes. As for the results, we did end up winning the war, luckily 2-1, so a very close war once again, but we managed to only die once, and we are moving on with another victory.